In this episode, I go over my top 5 picks for New Comic Book Day coming out next week, July 20th, 2022. What is going on, everybody? Justin here, aka No Good Comics, and welcome back to the channel. In this episode, I'm going over my top 5 picks for New Comic Book Day coming out next week, July 20th, 2022. So as always, if you're here for that, take a moment, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I always want to give a huge shout out to the Premiere chat right now if you're hanging out with me here live during my lunch hour, 12:30 Eastern on Thursdays. This is when this video premieres if you want to join me at that time. Otherwise, I appreciate it if you're just watching this video on your own time. Thanks either way. It's another great week for comics. There are so many titles, and I'm trying not to have I know last week I had a really long list of honorable mentions. I want to just cut right into my top 5 this week, although I will say there are just a lot of really good comics out there. But yeah, I'm going to stick to my top 5. At the end of this, I'm also going to go over my cover buy of the week, so make sure you stick around for that as well. But let's kick it right off with number 5 here, and I am going with this book right here, Do a Powerbomb, issue number 2. Now, this has not been on my list from when issue 1 came out because I totally blanked on even realizing that it was a new series coming out. This is a Image comic series book, and it is by Daniel Warren Johnson, who, if you have been recently following me, I have talked very highly of this writer and a lot of the work that he's done previously, including Wonder Woman Dead Earth, which is probably one of my favorites that I've recently read from him. And there's some other series that I still have to get onto reading because I've just heard so many great things. Now, I will say I have not read issue 1 of this, so I am kind of going in blind. But, I mean, in other words, I am going to go back. I'm going to read issue 1 right as this comes out next week, so I can just go 1, 2, and just continue on from there. I've already heard great things, and again, it's Daniel Warren Johnson. I love his style of writing. He just knows how to tug on the heartstrings, and I'm all about that. If you can make me feel some sort of emotion, I am there. I'm down with it. So that is why I wanted to make sure this was on my list this time around. So if you haven't heard of this, again, Do a Powerbomb, issue number 2. I don't know anything about it. All I know is that it's Daniel Warren Johnson, and that is enough for me to want to put it on my list. So that's going to be my number 5 pick of the week, Do a Powerbomb, issue number 2 by Image Comics. All right, coming in at number 4 on my list, it is going to be this book right here, Radio Apocalypse, issue number 3 by Ram V. Let me just clarify here. I am a little concerned with if this is the actual release date or not, because this is a series that has constantly been pushed back again and again and again. I've heard, it's only issue 3, and it's been like 8 months or something, I feel like, since the first issue came out. With all that being said, I cannot wait until this next book comes out. I really enjoy this series just from the 2 that we got so far. Granted, it's Ram V. He's another writer that I'm all about. Anything that he puts out, I'm down to check out. Ever since I read Many Deaths of Layla Starr, like that just absolutely blew me away, and he's been killing it with Swamp Thing and some other stuff like that. So that is why it's on my list. I have to say, like I said, I'm a little concerned that this might not actually come out next week. So if you're going to your local comic shop and you notice that it's not there, one, it's either sold out because maybe there's not a lot of copies to begin with, or 2, it just actually didn't get released yet and it got pushed back. So I will apologize in advance if it doesn't actually come out next week. But fingers crossed here. I'm hoping that this is the accurate date. Let's see. Yeah, they still have Anand RK doing the artwork. But this is just a fantastic post-apocalyptic type of story that, again, issue 1 just completely, I was sold. I just fell in love with it. Very emotional, very sad, the situation that these people are in right now. But one of the cool concepts of this series is that Ram V has included sort of a soundtrack, and the specialty in that is, because I know that there have been a lot of different writers and creators that are now including certain soundtracks, like the series We Live by the Miranda Brothers. Like that's all been fantastic. I'm really enjoying that. But something that Ram V has done here is he's been taking music that is not his and is just placing it into certain parts of the book. And his rule of thumb is, when you're reading this, is to, turn on Spotify or iTunes or whatever it is that you use music wise, and listen to that song while you read those panels. It's a really, really clever way to do something where you don't actually need the rights to like play the music, right? Because Ron V's just the writer and saying like, yeah, just imagine this song playing in the background, and you totally can just do your own DJ type, setup. So it's a clever idea. I'm surprised that no one else has really done that, to my knowledge. Again, like the Miranda Brothers, they have like pre-written stuff that they've worked with, musicians to put towards the music. So that's all, like that music's purposely for that. He's taking like radio hits and like Bruce Springsteen and Muse and other well-known bands and artists and applying it into the series. So it's really clever, it's really well done, and it just helps add that extra emotion, that extra layer of emotion, which again, as I just mentioned, like, if you can make me feel some type of way, then I'm down. I'm totally into it. And this series has done that. Issue 1 just absolutely, it's a beautiful story, or a beautiful start, I should say, to a story. I enjoyed issue 2. But again, this is something that they've been releasing every 3 months, so it's hard to like, I have to go back and reread them before I get into 3 again, and just recall everything that's going on. So in the end, yes, it's probably something that might be better as a trade, as a lot of, modern indies are nowadays. But either way, I'm down to continue to ride along with this series. So that's why I wanted to make sure to include it here on the top 5. And that's going to be my number 4 pick of the week, Radio Apocalypse, issue number 3 by Ron V. Again, little asterisk, assuming that it is actually coming out next week. So hopefully it is. But let's move on to my number 3 pick, and I am going with Axe Judgment Day issue number 1, or AXE Judgment Day issue number 1. I'm really, really looking forward to this buildup of this event that I really haven't been keeping up with up until recently. I've actually, this past week and a half, after talking with Michael, Sove Collector, if you're here in the chat right now, I appreciate you, man. He's got me back into reading Eternals, and I am really, really enjoying it. I'm glad I took the time to kind of re-dive into that series, because I know it's on like issue 12, 13, 14, wherever it is right now. I'm on issue 10 at the moment, so hopefully I will be all caught up, but I know a lot of that has to do with this event that's coming up here, as the E in Axe is what Eternals, or E stands for Eternals. So if you don't know what this is a Marvel event. It's going to include the Avengers, it's going to include the X-Men, and it's going to include Eternals, as I just mentioned. So that's really all I know so far about it. I don't know the direction that it's going in. I talked about this last week when they were having their like the kickoff to Judgment Day. I forget the title, but it was like not the official, like this is the official issue 1 of the series. But yeah, I'm gonna check that out. I'm gonna try to stick to all the different event tie-ins, just because I like to do that from time to time with both Marvel and DC. I know it's a lot of reading and it is tough to keep along with, and there are times where I fall off or I have to catch up later on and do some binge reading, but I'm going to at least attempt to try to stay on point with this series here for Judgment Day. So I'm very curious. I've been all up to date with the X-Men stuff, following that ever since Hickman started. So I'm good there. Like I said, catching up on the Eternal stuff. I have not really been following along with the Avengers, but I think I'll be okay to just kind of dive in. Maybe I'll go back and read an issue or 2 of the Avengers stuff for the annual, just to kind of see where things are. Otherwise, I'll just reach out to friends from the community who can also help catch me up on that stuff as well. So, but either way, that's where I'm at with this. Jump in at your own risk if it's something you want to invest in and read. I know it's going to take up a lot of time, as these events usually do with all the different tie-ins and stuff. I mean, hey, you could also just approach it as just reading the main event, right? I mean, if you really want to, these writers make sure that it all makes sense in a way where you could just read the main event title, the main series, which in this case is Axe Judgment Day, and going issue 1 to whatever. You could just do that and skip the tie-ins, and I think you'd probably still be fine, still be entertained. I just like those details, similar to the Dark Crisis that's out right now for DC, like that I'm really into right now, and I'm enjoying taking the time to read all those individual stories, very much like X-Men as a whole, right? X-Men, even though it's not one particular event, there's a ton, just a ton to read, and I like that lore that you can really fall into. So anyways, that is going to be my number 3 pick of the week, Axe Judgment Day issue number 1. Really looking forward to that. And I should note as well, Kieran Gillen doing the writing for that, who he's been doing Eternals, and I've really I'm really glad that I've gotten back into Eternals because I am really enjoying it. It's actually made me get back into. I went back and watched the film the other day because I was just so into the idea of Eternals and the characters, and I actually want to go back and read some of the stuff prior to this main series that's out right now, just to learn more about the characters themselves. And get more of a feel for where they are, how where they stand, their opinions, their relationships, things like that. So yeah, just me, I go on these kicks, and so right now it's just like, all right, like it was Superman, it's still Superman, but now it's some Eternal stuff too that I'm re-exploring. So the Neil Gaiman stuff, as Sove Collector had mentioned, that's something that I want to go back and read amongst other things. So if you have any recommendations for Eternal stuff, we'd love to hear it. Leave a comment in the comment section below. But anyways, let's move on because that's gonna be my number 3 pick of the week. Axe Judgment Day issue number 1. All right, so going into my final 2 here. Again, this is one of those scenarios where it could easily be 1A, 1B, but I'm breaking it up because I want to stick to the system that I have in place here. So for my number 2 pick of the week, I'm going to go with this book right here, Batman Superman World's Finest, issue number 5. This is a Mark Waid book along with the artwork by Dan Mora, who, man, he is becoming just one of my absolute favorites. I'm buying all the cover A's because of his work. And on top of that, he's the reason why I even wanted to give this series a shot to begin with. And I mean, this is apparently going to be like the conclusion of the first story arc that they've been working on, which has been phenomenal. And I have to say, last issue was wild. It was like a on your left moment, like Endgame type of moment, like crazy stuff that had happened that apparently has never happened before, that has to do with both Batman and Superman. And I won't spoil it, but for those who have been following along, you know what I'm talking about, and a little mix of Green Lantern. Really, really wild stuff. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this first story arc ends. I really have been enjoying the pace of it, the storytelling, the different sprinkling of characters that we're getting, like Supergirl and Damian are both in it. So that's cool to get another kind of side story while other things are going on. Doom Patrol is also involved. So yeah, it's got a lot of little directions. There's a lot of different villains that kind of show up, and it's not like over the top. It like makes sense in a way. Like it's not overdone is what I'm getting at. I think it's just done. It's done in a way that you could take everything in, follow along with what's going on, and some epic scenes happen from last issue, and good humor and all that. So yeah, I'm praising this book because I'm enjoying it that much, and I recommend it if you haven't given it a shot yet. I've never read any World's Finest before. As I mentioned before, I've just recently been on this Superman kick, and really getting into that. And so that's one of the things I wanted to give this a shot to is that, and Dan Mora, who did this artwork here as we're looking at the cover. But yeah, it's all been great. So that is why it's my number 2 pick of the week, Batman Superman World's Finest, issue number 5. And we are getting down to it. I got my number 1 pick of the week, and then I want to follow that with my cover buy of the week. So make sure you stick around for that as well. But I do want to take a moment to point out I have a lot going on here in these next couple of weeks. I'm really excited for. So this weekend, this Saturday, I will be at Hershey Park in Pennsylvania for the HersheyCon that is going on. My dad, Greg LaRoque, he's actually going to have a booth table set up in Artist Alley. My brother and sister are coming up from Baltimore as well. Going to be kind of a family reunion. So if you're there, if you're going to be at that Comic-Con, let me know. Hit me up on Instagram. I would love to connect with you. Maybe I'll see you at the booth, or I'll see you walking around. But I am really excited to go to that. So yeah, that's going to be in place for this weekend. And then after that, not next week, but the following weekend, we have Terrificon, which is probably my absolute favorite Comic-Con of the year. It is in Connecticut, which I'll probably mention all this again, but I'm really excited for that. If you guys have not been there before, I definitely recommend that. There's going to be a lot of artists and creators there that I want to meet, including like Stephanie Phillips, who I'm really looking forward to talking with, and just a ton others. So there's that. And then the week following that, literally back-to-back weekends, I have C2E E2 coming up at the beginning of August. So a lot of Comic-Con headed my way, and maybe it's headed your way too. And if you're going to be at any of those, definitely reach out. Let me know. Reach out to me over on Instagram. Would love to connect. But I'm looking forward to seeing the community. I'm looking forward to seeing the creators, and looking forward to doing a little hunting. So we'll see how everything goes. But yeah, a lot of things going on in the works. So definitely looking forward to it. But anyways, let's get back to it here on the number one pick of the week, and that is this book right here. Of course, you know I gotta go with Nightwing, issue number 94 by Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo. It is always gonna be number one on my list if it's coming out. So there it is. That's the spoiler. If you haven't figured that out already, it's gonna be there because I'm just always loving this series. Every issue that comes out, it is a grand slam every time. I just love this style of writing Tom Taylor does, what he's doing with Nightwing as a whole. And let me give a little context here for those, maybe if you're new, if you're just watching my channel for the first time. But I was not a Nightwing person. I was not a DC person up until Tom Taylor took over Nightwing, and that just changed my entire world, right? So, you know, for those who know me and have been following me, you know, I know you're probably like, okay, just we get it, we heard the story a million times, but I love what Tom Taylor's doing with the character. I love the series as a whole. It is so clever, so witty. I am loving the relationship between Nightwing and Batgirl. I love the back and forth between them. I love the different guest appearances that come into play. You know, some of the other superheroes that are involved. And on top of that, I mean, look at this beautiful cover. Just absolutely. At first, I thought it was Thanos. Like, thought that was. I was like, whoa, that's. I mean, with the, you know, the kind of the bald head, all purple. But it's really cool that it's like the city, like, you know, seeing Bloodhaven the way it is turned sideways. And yes, that's Blockbuster, in case you were wondering. But love the, you know, the purple yellow background, and then him just on the corner there. Absolutely love the style. So Bruno Redondo, I mean, he's the other half of this, right? He's made this series work just as much as Tom Taylor does or has, and it's just been awesome. So if you're not reading Nightwing, do yourself a favor, go back, read issue 78, read through that first story arc, and let me know what you think from there, because I think that'll just sell anybody. I think that first issue 78, I think that alone is going to make anybody, you know, fall head over heels, as it did me. You know, as it is another, you know, it's a tearjerker, a lot of emotion, as I was mentioning before. Like, you know, if you can make me feel some type of way, I am down. So yeah, it's just great. It's great. So, yeah, with that being said, I don't think I need to get in any detail on this. I swear by it. I live and die by it. If you are not reading Nightwing, you should be reading Nightwing. That's how good it is. And as I was saying before, like, was not into Nightwing at all before this. And I gave this a shot out of nowhere. So that goes to show you it is very new reader friendly. You don't need to know a lot of context prior to 78. You could just kind of jump into that. And I think anybody can really enjoy a story such as this that Tom Taylor's putting together. So we're on 94. You're not far behind if you're just getting into it. But if you are and you've been following along, then you know exactly why I am so excited and so passionate for this series, because it's been that good. So that is going to be my number one pick of the week, Nightwing, issue number 94 by Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo. And don't go away. I got one more thing to talk to you guys about, and that is, of course, is the cover buy of the week, which there are two. I have two cover buys of the week because I couldn't decide. They're just so great. Both of them are so great. So the first one I'm going to put up here is this one right here. It is another Nightwing issue or cover, as I was just talking about them. This is the cover B, Jamal Campbell cardstock variant. Yeah, I posted this as just the image itself probably a month or two ago when it leaked as a Throwdown Thursday post over on Instagram, and I just think it's perfect because, you know, they're throwing down, and I just think it's a beautiful cover. Jamal Campbell is a very talented artist, and really appreciate the work that he's been doing on all the Nightwing series, amongst other things. So yeah, that's going to be one of my cover buys of the week. And then I had to tie it together with this book right here, Catwoman issue 45, the Jenny Frison cover. Yeah, look at this thing. It's so I love the neon. I love the lighting style and the shadows and everything about it. Obviously Catwoman, she's beautiful here. And Jenny Frison, I mean, she just has my heart. I say this every time. I feel like it's like 50% of the time that Jenny Frison is my cover buy of the week, because I automatically buy her covers. I just do. I'm not even reading Catwoman, and I've talked about this before. Like, cover buys of the week are it's that book that you're just like, yep, whether I'm reading it or not, I'm buying it, because that's artwork that I have to have in my collection automatically. So there you have it. That's the book that you're looking at right here. It is one of those books. I can't resist. I can't resist. And by the way, I mentioned before that I'll be at C2E2 coming up here in the next couple of weeks. Jenny Frizen's going to be there. So maybe, just maybe, I'll have her sign this amongst my, hundreds of other Jenny Frizen covers that I have. I can't wait to just meet her. Maybe have her do a sketch of some sort. Definitely buy some of the merchandise that she has. I'm really looking forward to just, talking with her. So that's going to be exciting. But yeah, this just another beautiful cover by Jenny Frizen. And again, not even reading Catwoman. Although I've heard good things. I know Ram V was on it for a little while. Right now, Teenie Howard is writing on it. So I'm curious if you've been reading this. Let me know what you think of the series itself. I have nothing against the series. Like, it just hasn't been part of my books to read lately for this. So, but I own enough of her covers. I could easily probably go through and read and get the full story, right? So, yeah, that's something maybe down the road that I'll have to add to my list. But anyways, those are my cover buys of the week. We got 2 today. Catwoman 45 and Nightwing 94, the B covers, both B covers, the Jenny Frizen and the Jamal Campbell cover. So there you have it. And let me know in the comment section below if you have a cover buy of the week that you just absolutely cannot help yourself, but just you have to have it, you have to buy it. I would love to know. Leave a comment in the comment section. Appreciate you as always. And everybody in the Premiere chat right now, thanks so much for always coming and hanging out here on these fine Thursday afternoons. I hope you're doing well. Like I said, a lot of Comic-Cons coming up, so maybe I'll see you in one of these weekends. But otherwise, on your way out, smash that like button. And until next time, I will talk to you later.